This is Sean O'Malley, and you're watching Full-Time MMA. Don't be a bagel biting, bagel bitch boy, bagel bitch back.
Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time
MMA.
And holy flying flipping flapjacks, full-time family, get your popcorn, buckle your seatbelts, because we got some breaking news. And you might have heard the first part by now, but I got some more details for you that are extra spicy. So with that being said, let's jump right into this. Ariel Helwani reported earlier a decision from USADA on Jon Jones was expected imminently. According to sources, there were high optimism the decision would lead him to return to the UFC by the end of this year. He then later on tweeted, Jon Jones has received a 15-month retroactive suspension from USADA. He's free to resume his career on October 28th of 2018. Now, first thought, what you think is, holy shit, that means he's likely going to be fighting at Madison Square Garden, because we've been wondering, what's the main event for Madison Square Garden? We've all kind of been expecting it to be Jon Jones. Well, we didn't know, but there has been a weird optimism that it would be Jon Jones, even though he's supposed to be suspended by USADA for a minimum of 2 years, a maximum of 4. So with that being said, let's also cover that base. Jon Jones, not too long ago, a few months back, he had his hearing and he was found guilty. And so with that being said, it would be a 1 to 2 year suspension, but since it was his second violation, that's doubled. So Jon Jones was looking at a 2 to 4 year suspension. And with that being said, 2 years was minimum, which meant if Jon Jones serves 2 years, then he can't come back in time to fight at Madison Square Garden. So that's where we were at. But now it's came out, it's a 15-month suspension, which is even shorter than the minimum, which means he had to have did something, some sort of fuckery seemed to be going on for Jon Jones to be eligible to fight. A lot of people said, oh, it's a payoff. Jon Jones, your USADA, they're corrupt. And let me tell you now, that is not what's going on. The UFC, Dana White, they are not paying USADA off. I got news for you. If you're wondering, how is Jon Jones getting off of this suspension in under 2 years? Well, let me give you this first. It was supposed to be a 4-year suspension. Jon Jones was going to be suspended for 48 months, and I'm going to show you the facts. But guess what? He got 30 months knocked off, 33 in total, by using USADA's snitching clause, allegedly. It looks like Jon Jones actually... and I'm going to show you guys the facts. I'm going to break this all the way down for you. So like where I said, get your popcorn, buckle in your seatbelt. But that's how Jon Jones is going from a 48-month suspension all the way down to a 15-month suspension, which will have him eligible to return to the UFC in time for Madison Square Garden. So with that being said, let's get into these facts, man. So Jon Jones got a 15-month retroactive suspension, and here is one of the official Ariel Helwani posted on Twitter. He said, here's a full USADA announcement. Jones quietly went to arbitration last week and came away with a big victory. Here's I'll just read the first paragraph because it's kind of important here. It says, USADA announced today that an independent arbitrator has rendered a decision in the case of Jon Jones of Rochester, New York, and determined that Jones should receive a 15-month sanction for his second violation of the UFC anti-doping policy. The decision comes after the facts of the case were presented and fully argued in an evidentiary hearing on September 15th. Now, with that being said, before we go into anything further, let me show you what's really going on here, because there's a lot of ways to go with this video. We're going to break this all down on a live stream right after this. I'm going to go live. We really got to unpack all of this. There's a lot more to get to, and you wonder, what's next? Is it going to be Jones versus DC? Ariel Helwani says no, but that's probably because he doesn't want to spoil the surprise for the UFC 229 press conference that takes place tomorrow. McGregor vs. Khabib are having a press conference. There's likely going to be an announcement, since it's in New York, of the Madison Square Garden main event. Well, Jon Jones is eligible, so you at least have to expect Jon Jones is going to be one half of the announcement. Who's he going to fight, Gustafsson or Cormier? Come the fuck on. Main event of Madison Square Garden, it's Cormier. Well, they wouldn't even be fighting for a damn belt. And you know what I'm saying right now? What would they fight for? Jones versus Gustafsson for an interim title? Yeah, I would love to see that fight. I'm not gonna lie, but it's just not the fight that makes the most sense. I mean, come on. I've been saying I want to see this fight even when it wasn't a possibility. Jones versus DC3, a heavyweight. Both of them fighting for their legacies. Winner gets fucking Brock. Oh my God, make it happen. And also, there's been videos that have pointed out some subtle hints that it might be John Jones versus Daniel Cormier 3. Alpaca Thesaurus broke it down. You know, Joe Rogan, he seemed to have some optimism as to what was going on if you watched UFC 228 as far as the main event for UFC 230. And it all makes sense now, sort of. If you see John Jones quietly went to arbitration last week, you know, maybe some people knew about it in the UFC, and they knew the results, and they knew John Jones was going to be eligible, and so they knew he was going to be able to fight at Madison Square Garden. So that would make a lot of sense. But with that being said, let's get into this whole snitching clause, because this is the new details that I'm bringing that a lot of you might not have, and I'm bringing up the facts. And I got these facts. I have to give a huge shout out to this guy on Twitter, because I was at work reading this and my mouth dropped like, oh. Shout out to Lane Kid on Twitter. He said, John Jones' 15 months is based on a 30-month reduction for evidently turning in another fighter and or coach and or supplier to USADA, along with a small 3-month reduction based on the circumstances of his failed drug test in general. So, John Jones got 30 months knocked off for turning in, allegedly, another fighter, coach, or supplier. And with that being said, Lane Kid continued, and I'm going to show you where he got this information from, but he, you know, you really had to dig deep to find this, and he put it in English for the people that can't really keep up with the legal talk, you know, the legal documents. He put it in English for you, but what he's saying is facts, and I'm going to point it out to you. So with that being said, keep in mind John Jones got 30 months knocked off for allegedly turning somebody else in. He said, this is to my knowledge the first time any UFC fighter has chosen to avail themselves of section 10.6.1 and turn state's evidence to reduce their suspension. It's a very substantial reduction as well, so no doubt, so I doubt this is a case of just giving up a name. It'll be more than that. It's not something light. John Jones is, I'm going to break it down for you. It seems like he's got to do some serious cooperating, and even in the statement, let me show you. That's why I highlighted this. This is the first time he said he believes that a fighter has chosen to avail themselves of section 10.6.1. Well, here's section 10.6.1. Let me pull that up for you. We scroll all the way down right here to section 10, and that's right here, 10.2, 10.3, and now here's 10.6.1, right here. So that's correct. And also, the first thing that he said was that John Jones got 30 months knocked off of his sentence. And instead of just going off the tweet, he also, this is facts, like I said, this is from ufc.usada.org, and this is the John Jones statement. If you go to that and you scroll to section 3.9 right here, it says USADA in its sole discretion has assessed a 30-month reduction based upon the substantial assistance of the athlete pursuant to Article 10.6.1, and USADA has retained the right to reinstate any part of the term of reduction if the athlete fails to continue to cooperate. So he's got to continue to cooperate, and if he don't, he can get this suspension can come back at any time. So he's got to follow through with this. He can't just give you a name and hopefully they can figure it out from there. You got to help them catch a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't cooperate, and if any time you fail to cooperate, then they can reinstate the reduction, this 30 months. So right here it tells you 30 months was knocked off because of Article 10.6.1, and right here is Article 10.6.1, substantial evidence in discovering or establishing anti-doping policy violations. Now, you can read this whole paragraph right here. It's a lot of legal talk that you probably wouldn't want to keep up with. So it's on the screen if you want to read it, but pretty much it's saying what we just went over. USADA can, you know, it can either be the full suspension, they can give you a lighter suspension if you cooperate and help them catch somebody else, pretty much. Either another athlete, like the guy said, he put it in English for you. It can be another athlete, it can be another coach, it can be another supplier or someone, but either way, it seems like that's how this is all going down. And with that being said, it actually keeps the integrity of USADA intact, because I mean, a lot of people were starting to fucking wonder, like, okay, if Jon Jones and Brock Lesnar comes back, clearly USADA's up to some fuckery. They're getting paid off or something, and that is not the case, because Jon Jones, it seems like, may be snitching. That's what it seems like, to get his case reduced. And if you see Brock Lesnar, he's getting smaller and smaller by the fucking week. And so with that being said, he's probably passing his test and he's shrinking because of it. Jon Jones didn't pay somebody off. It was a minimum of 2 years, but guess what? He actually got hit with the maximum. Jon Jones actually got hit for 4 years and ended up getting 33 of those months knocked off by enacting Article 10.6.1, which is cooperating with USADA and turning someone else in, it seems like. So holy smokes, full-time family, that's the scoop. With that being said, it is what it is. We're going to be breaking this down on a live stream later on. I know it's late. I got off work to this. The live stream's probably not going to be live, and we're going to be live at like 3 a.m. Eastern, and I still got work tomorrow, but this is crazy. So with that being said, man, let the full-time family know what you think in the comments, and if you want to see a more in-depth breakdown of all of this, we're going to be talking about it a lot more on the live stream. So check that out as well. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments, and also make sure you check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo over at patreon.com/fulltimemma. All sorts of cool shit over there, full fight card breakdowns. We do betting advice. We do a lot of fun shit over there. So make sure you check that out, and everything's free. You can check it all out for free. All right, links are in the description. Follow me on social media. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking DOWG.